Good morning, viewers. Today I am here with another topic, which is indefinite article. So before that, I am Arif Ahammed. I am teaching English in the department of SNH, MLR Institute of Technology. Let's start with today's topic, indefinite articles. But before starting the topic, let me give a brief overview of my presentation today, like what are the aspects that I am going to cover for today's presentation. Okay, the first part is what is article, you can see here. So in this part we would be talking about the definition of article and then types of article. Then there are certain facts, important facts about articles in general that we have to keep in our mind. And then the next and the last part of the presentation would be the most important one, that is usage rules of indefinite articles. So as my topic, today's topic is indefinite articles. So in the last part I will be talking about the usage rules of indefinite articles, like in which cases, in which instances we are supposed to use indefinite articles. Fine. So let's start with the topic, today's topic. So first one is here, you can see, so it's definition of article, right? You can see here definition of article. So how can you define, or how do we define articles? Normally we will all know articles means a or an and the, right? So these three are articles. But then if someone asks you what is an article, how would you define article? So articles are small words that are used to make a noun specific or generic. Now these two aspects are very important. You see, articles, why do we need article, or why do we use article in a sentence? To make a particular noun either specific or generic or general, right? So you can see the example here. You can focus on the example sentence. After the long day, the cup of tea tasted particularly good. So what are the articles in this sentence? If you can check, there are two articles, right? The. After the long day, the cup of tea tasted particularly good. Now you can see what role this particular article is playing here. When I am saying the sentence, or I am reading the sentence, you are clearly getting the idea that I am talking about a particular long day, right? A specific long day, and also I am talking about a particular cup of tea that I had on that particular day, right? So these two articles, what they are doing, you can see here, they are making this particular article, definite article, the, it is making this particular noun, long day, as more specific, a particular day. Similarly, this particular article also is making this particular noun as more specific or particular. Now just change the article here. Let's say if instead of the, if we put after a long day, a cup of tea tasted particularly good, or taste, you can say, you can simply say taste particularly good. After a long day, a cup of tea tastes particularly good. So what would be the difference here in this sentence? You can see, the moment I am using this particular article a instead of the, I am no longer talking about a particular day. I am talking about in general, any day. After any long day, any cup of tea will taste good. So that's the role of article. Article is used to make a noun specific or general. So let's go to the next part of the article, types of articles. So though I will be talking about the usage of indefinite articles only, but before that, it is better to have an idea about different types of articles. So there are two types of articles, there are indefinite article and then definite article. Now what is indefinite article and what is definite article? Indefinite article, from the name itself you can understand here, indefinite. Which is indefinite? A things which is not certain, right? If you are not talking about a specific thing, then it is indefinite. That means it can be anything. So these are called indefinite articles. Now what are the indefinite articles? Like a or an. Now there are another type of articles, that is definite articles, which is the or the. Now definite article, what is definite article? Again, this name itself will give you an ample idea. Definite article means this particular article is used to make a particular noun specific, particular. Fine. So please do remember there are two kind of article. One is indefinite article and one is definite article. Fine. Now let's come to the next part. So certain facts about articles. Now this is very important, and there are certain basic facts that we should all keep in mind while dealing with article. So the first one, while choosing between a or an, so you can see indefinite articles a or an. There are two types of indefinite articles, right? Like two indefinite articles, a or an. Basically they are one. In certain cases we are supposed to use a, and in certain cases we are supposed to use an. Now that's where the first fact comes. It's very important. We need to focus on the initial sound, not the letter. So like in certain cases, as I told, we are supposed to use a, and or in certain cases we are supposed to use an. So where do we use a and where do we use an? You all know. A we use before a consonant sound, and an we use before a vowel sounds. So that's why I'm saying what we need to do, we need to focus on the initial sound of the noun. You can see here the example. So it's not about the letter, that you have to remember. It's not about the letter a, e, I, o, u. It's always about the sound. Now see this sentence, example sentence here. He is an honest man. So what is the article here? You can see an is the article, right? So you might be asking me, sir, H is a consonant. Okay, the letter is a consonant letter. So why are you using a? We should be using a instead of an. So that's where this particular fact comes. As I said, you should focus on the initial sound, not the letter. So see the sentence or see the particular noun here, honest. So what is the initial sound when you are pronouncing the word honest? It's actually a vowel sound, or sound, right? Honest. It's not honest, it's honest. And that's why we are supposed to use an, because before a vowel sound we always use an. Similarly, in the other sentence you can see, she is a university graduate. So this is the article here. Now again the confusion is the first letter is U, which is vowel, you might be saying. So why again a? It should be an. But it should not be an, because if you focus on the sound of this particular noun, it starts with a consonant sound, ya sound, university. She is a university student, and that's why, because it's a consonant sound, we are using the article a. So that is one fact. The first fact that you have to remember is a or an. Now it depends how do you choose a or an, on the basis of the sound. Right? So that also you have to remember, sound, not the letter. Okay, so that is first fact. Now let's come to the second fact. What is the second fact? If we have to use indefinite article a or an before a noun which is modified by an adjective, then we should consider the starting sound of the adjective. So sometime you see there would be a sentences where normally article is related to noun, as you observed from the definition of articles. What is articles? Article is associated or related to noun. It makes a noun more specific or general, right? Now sometime what happens in a sentence, you will observe that a noun can also be modified by an adjective. See this example here, a small gift, right? So normally this is an article. Now this is small is adjective, right? And this one is the noun. So this article is related to this particular noun, gift. But then sentence structure, the normal order is actually goes like this only. First adjective comes, like article plus adjective, and then comes noun. This three, article plus then adjective then noun. So you can see he bought a small gift. Let's say if I make a sentence, he bought a small gift. See here. So you see this is the article a and this is noun, but this noun is getting modified by this particular adjective in between. So while choosing a or an, what you need to do, you don't need to focus on the sound of the noun. In that case, you have to focus on the first sound, initial sound of the adjective that is coming in between, right? So be clear. So you have to say he bought a small gift. So you have to check the sound of this particular adjective, the initial sound. If it is vowel, there you should be using an. If it is consonant, you should be using a. Now see here, I heard an interesting, let's say make it a complete sentence. If I write it like, I heard an interesting story. So you can observe here, when you are talking about this particular article an, this is related to this noun, right? So you might be saying again, like you might be having the doubt that said this particular noun is starting with S, okay, capital letter, consonant sound. So why it is an? But then as I told, the second fact, what you need to, if a particular noun is getting modified by an adjective in between, you should focus on the initial sound of the adjective. So what is the adjective in this sentence? Interesting, an interesting story. So that's why what you are supposed to do, you need to consider the initial sound of the adjective, and it's a vowel sound, and that's why an interesting story. So you have to say I heard an interesting story. So I hope it is clear. So the first thing, that two things here that you need to keep in mind. First one is choosing a or an. That depends on the sound, like on the sound, not the letter. If it is a vowel sound, you have to use an. If it is a consonant sound, you have to use a. Similarly, the second point is, like when a noun is modified by an adjective, when the noun is actually preceded by the adjective, while choosing a or an, you need to focus on the sound of the adjective. An interesting story. You are not focusing on the first letter of the noun. You are focusing, or you are looking at the first sound of the adjective, right? So that is the second fact. Now let's come to the next part. The third point, we cannot use indefinite article with uncountable nouns. So you can see a or an. What are the indefinite articles? As you already saw that while discussing about types of article, there are two indefinite articles. Like there, one, we use this according to the context. Either we use a or we use an, right? But then you also know that article, this indefinite article always indicates the number 1. Right? It's not only about article specific or non-specific, it also indicates number. For example, I have a pen, for example. So what is the article? A. And what is this article doing? It is talking about the number also, means I have one pen, right? So that's why while we are talking about uncountable nouns, we cannot use article. We cannot use indefinite article with uncountable nouns, because indefinite article is always about one thing. So uncountable things which are not countable, we cannot use indefinite article. For example, we cannot say give me a water, because water is uncountable noun. So it would be very awkward if we say give me a water. It would be wrong also, in fact. Similarly, if I say give me an ice, that is also wrong. But I can say give me a bottle of water, because you can count bottle of water, how many bottles you want. So you can say give me a bottle of water. You can also say give me an ice cube, because ice cube, again, they are countable, you can count them. So that is the normal rule. Now we need to keep in mind that certain noun can act both as countable as well as uncountable according to the context. So it's not about remembering or memorizing what are the uncountable nouns, because whether a noun is countable or uncountable, that will depend on the situation also. So what we need to do, we need to analyze the context of the sentence and then decide whether a particular noun is countable in that context or uncountable in that context. So see here, we need a light in this room. So I am using indefinite article. So obviously you can understand that this light is here what? Countable. So I am talking about maybe one bulb or tube lights which I can count, right? So it's a countable noun, and that's why I am using indefinite articles a, and because it's consonant sound, it's starting with consonant sound, I am using a. Now see the second sentence, we need some light in the room. So I am not using any article here, no article, right? So why no article? Because I cannot, in this context, I cannot use we need a light, because my intention here is to talk about the general light, not the bulb or the countable form of light, in general light, sunlight, let's say, for example. So that's why I am not using any article here. So what you need to keep in mind while again dealing with a noun, whether the noun is countable or uncountable, that depends on the context. So we need to analyze the context and decide whether the noun is countable. If it is countable, we can use indefinite article a or an according to the sound, and if the noun is uncountable, we are not supposed to use any article. Fine. So let's move to the next part. Now these are the important things, usage of indefinite article. So where are the occasions or instances where we are supposed to use indefinite article? So you can see these are very simple usage of indefinite articles. So as I already told, indefinite articles can be used as a number, to indicate as a number, right? So you can see I bought a dozen eggs. She is wearing a pair of jeans. So here what this article is doing, these two articles are doing, they are actually indicating a number. How many pair of jeans? One pair of jeans. How many eggs I actually bought? A dozen, not 2 dozen, a dozen, 1. So it is indicating a number. Second usage, to indicate an approximate number or amount. Sometime if we want to refer to an approximate number or amount, we use article. See the example. He has a few questions about the trip plan. So here I am not talking about a specific number of questions. I am not saying he has 3 or 4 questions about the trip. I am talking about some approximate number. So that's why I am using the article a few questions. Similarly, she needs a little more salt, a little more. So that means here I am using the article to indicate an approximate number or amount. Third usage of indefinite articles, to denote a certain. So if we are talking about a certain things or person, then also we can use indefinite articles. So one day a little puppy came to my door. So what is article here? You can see indefinite article A. So here I am talking about a certain puppy, right, that came on that particular day. So it, I don't know that particular puppy, but then it is a puppy. I know, I am certain about that fact. That's why I am using the indefinite article A. Similarly, Naresh Kumar. Now he is a particular person, Naresh Kumar, but I am not sure about that person. I have never met that person. So in this case I am saying I am using the indefinite article because the person is certain. I might not know him, but the person is certain. That's why Naresh Kumar is suspected by police. Okay, now let's come to the next fourth usage of article, indefinite article, to generalize. So when we want to generalize about something, we are supposed to use indefinite article. See one example here. A lion is a ferocious animal. So when I am using this particular article, indefinite article, a lion, I am talking about lion in general. It can be any lion, right? And that's why I am saying a lion is a ferocious animal. So to generalize also we can use indefinite articles. Fine. Let's come to the next. Yeah, now this is very interesting usage of indefinite articles. So sometime what happens, to convert a proper noun into a common noun. Now before going into that, I will just briefly tell what is proper noun and what is common noun. Proper noun means it indicates a proper name. It may be the name of a person, city, place, things, anything. So it indicates name. Proper noun means name, like proper name. And what is common noun? Common noun means it indicates a group of things. For example, if I say students, so it can be any students. There are many students, right? So student, you can see it's a common noun. Now see, when we want to convert a proper noun into a common noun, normally we are not supposed to use article before a proper noun. We cannot use article before proper noun. But when we want to convert that proper noun into a common noun, we can use an article. You can see here, he is a real Einstein when it comes to physics, right? So you can see Einstein is a proper noun here. Now what is the normal rule? Before proper noun we are not supposed to use any article, right? But we are using here an article, indefinite article A. Now the moment I am using this indefinite article A here, what is happening? This particular proper noun is actually getting converted into the common noun. So what is the common noun? When I am saying he is a real Einstein, I am indicating or I am trying to say that he is very intelligent, right? So that's why it is becoming a common noun. So Einstein here becomes a common noun or has become a common noun that indicates a person or that includes any person who is intelligent. So this is one interesting usage of indefinite article. Now next usage, to indicate price, rate or speed. So when we talk about price, rate or speed, we can see petrol cost 110 rupees a litre. So I am using the article here. He is driving at 100 miles. Here it should not be, I should not be using per 100 miles an hour. So here an hour, because an I am using because this is vowel sound, right? So I am using like an indefinite article to indicate speed here. I am using an indefinite article to indicate price here. Okay, so this is few examples. Now this is the format. Now we use this kind of article in many other cases also, like while talking about price, rate or speed. Now let's come to the next usage, before profession or role. So when we talk about certain professions, if we want to tell or indicate about someone's professions or role, then also we use indefinite article. You can see here, he is a musician. So what is the role? This is the profession of that particular person, he. So I am using indefinite article A, he is a musician. She is a student. Again, student is again a role. What role she is playing? She is a student. So that's why I am using indefinite article. He wants to be a doctor. So it's about profession. So I am using an indefinite article here. Fine. Now let's come to the last two usage of articles, which are very important. Expression of frequency. So when we talk about the frequency of certain things, certain events, we do use indefinite article. You can see here, I go for jogging thrice a week. So thrice a week, this actually I am using to indicate frequency. How frequently we go for jogging? I go for jogging thrice a week. So I am using indefinite article here. He gets paid once in a month. Again, so what is the frequency of getting paid? Once in a month. So this is the general rule that you have to remember, is when we talk about expression or we express frequency of certain things, we use indefinite article. Now this is one thing that we need to remember, before adjective to describe a type. So there are certain descriptive adjectives, right, that we use to describe certain things, certain types. See the example here. He is a good student. So first tell me, what is the adjective here, descriptive adjective? You can see good is the descriptive adjective, right? What it is doing? It is describing the type of the student. So what kind, what types of student it, he is a good student. So before these kind of descriptive adjectives also we use indefinite article. So he is a good student. Before the descriptive adjective I am using indefinite article. She is a kind person. Again, so kind person, I am using an indefinite article before the descriptive adjective. Kind is nothing but a descriptive adjective which is modifying this particular noun, right? But we need to remember certain things here. We cannot or we should not be using any articles in these kind of sentences. He is awesome. She is kind. Okay, why? Because here you can see we are talking about not the type, but we are talking about quality. So when I am saying he is awesome, I am not saying what type of person he is. Awesome is the quality. Similarly, if I am saying she is kind, I am not talking about the type, I am talking about quality. What kind of person she is kind. That is quality. So when we talk about quality, we are not supposed to use any article. Please remember that. Yes, so this is the last two, sorry. These two are the last two usage of indefinite articles. So with acronyms and initialism. So you all know what is acronyms and initialism, right? So before such initialism or acronym also we use indefinite article. So he is an MVP. So this is example of initialism, right? MVP. So he is an, I am using an indefinite article. I am using an because though it is starting with M, but the initial sound is actually a vowel sound. That's why an. In most of the initialisms, you will find those initialism or those particular short form always starts with a vowel. So in most of the cases, you will find an, not a. She works for an NGO. You can see here again, I am using the indefinite article and I am using an because NGO, though it is starting with a consonant letter, but actually it is vowel sound. That's why an. Okay, now let's come to the last usage, collective nouns. They are singular in nature. So that's why collective noun is always singular in nature, and that's why you are supposed to use indefinite article a or an. You can see here a herd of cows. So herd of cows is countable like collective noun. So a herd of cows. We have to say a hive of bees, a swarm of ants. So I am using indefinite article here before countable noun because collective nouns are by default singular in nature. So we know that we should be using indefinite article before a countable singular noun, right? So that is the rule here. Yeah. So in short, this is all. Now what are the outcomes from this particular lecture or presentation? You can see first you got to know about articles. What is the definition of article? It is used to make a noun specific or in general. specific or general. Then you got to know about like how we need to be careful while choosing a or an, because it's not about the letter, it is about the starting sound. It is about the sound of that particular noun, the initial sound. If it is vowel, then we are supposed to use an. If it is consonant sound, then a. And then we got to know about the usage of indefinite articles. Where are the occasions, where are the context, which are the context in which we are supposed to use indefinite article. So in short, this is all about indefinite articles. Hope to meet you soon with another topic next time. Till then, goodbye, take care.